Job 38:21. You know, for you were born then, and the number of your days is great. This one verse will change how you view the Bible and also, perhaps, your very existence. The book of Job is the oldest book in the Bible, thought to be written sometime between the 6th and 4th centuries BC. It's a book on the mystery of suffering and the transformative power of spiritual awakening. It is written in a highly poetic and dramatic form, with vivid and powerful imagery that captures the imagination of the reader. Let's briefly sum up the events of Job to better understand why this single verse is so important. Job is a wealthy and pious man who fears God and shuns evil. Satan, the adversary, decides to challenge God, saying that Job's faith is based solely on his material prosperity. God allows Satan to test Job's faith, but he cannot kill Job. Satan then takes away his wealth, his health, and also his children. Despite these events, Job remains faithful to God. Eventually, 3 friends arrive and sit with him, and Job finally laments his suffering and cries out to God, questioning why he has been afflicted, and starts to plead for relief. A long discourse begins with the 3 friends arguing with Job about the nature of his suffering and the reasons for his misfortune. Eventually, a younger 4th friend appears and offers his perspective on Job's suffering, suggesting that Job may have been too focused on his own righteousness and that his suffering may be a means of purifying his soul. It is right after this friend finishes his words that the very important chapter 38 begins. Job 38, 1-5. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Dress for action like a man. I will question you, and you make it known to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Now God suddenly answering Job out of a whirlwind after he just receives a possible revelation from the 4th friend is quite powerful imagery, and dare I say symbolism. Gird up your loins is an expression meaning to prepare yourself for something difficult or challenging. What the challenge for Job is, we will soon see. Notice what God says here in the 5th verse after asking who laid the foundation of the earth. Surely you know. Surely you know. Now, most Christian scholars will tell you this is a rhetorical question meant to show that only God knows, but we cannot be so sure about that. That line of thought only comes from the church's preconceived notion about what God actually is, when maybe they are just missing something much deeper. After several more verses of God asking Job about the creation of the whole universe and earth, God finally gives Job the answer he told himself to gird up his loins for. Job 38:21. You know, for you were born then, and the number of your days is great. Take a minute to let that sink in. Job's 4 friends are all symbolically the discourse he is having with himself in his own mind. By God appearing in a whirlwind, we must assume Job is having an intense spiritual awakening in his own mind. And in that awakening, he is learning his own nature, the nature of his and our very own soul, that we were with God in the beginning. We have always been with and a part of God. The number of our days is great, because we are eternal spiritual beings, destined to reunite with the Great Spirit, or God. It is said the first step in spiritual awakening is just simply that, remembering. Remember where you came from. Job knew this answer. Hidden deep, deep down, he always knew, just like you know. Your time is now.